Wednesday. It's 5:30 a.m. We're going for a sound immersion yoga class. It's really dark. I can't see anything, I'm sure. I'm going to the yoga studio now. This is the best way to start my morning. It's too dark to talk. Wait, let me get in. Always overdressed, guys. Hi, so I'm with Austin. Why is the lighting off? This is the only. Okay, where do I put this?
Wait, I'll give you some.
I think I'll come.
You wanna go up?
No, we can maybe sit.
Organic tea, like it's not
Okay.
chai tea.
This is Tejas.
Hello.
He was the mastermind. And
Nikhil.
Nikhil's really not interested in talking. Only when there's a mic, he'll sing.
Fun.
This is Nikhil and this is Tejas.
Hello. How are you doing?
Who are they? They are, I don't know, strangers.
Uh,
Life is dependent on strangers.
Very strange people as well. We are the
Yeah.
musical wing of Immersive Vibration.
So, how many instruments did you guys use today?
I think around 4 or 5 instruments. On vocals,
The guitar, shamanic drum, djembe, thunder tube,
Thunder Tube.
and
bird whistles,
yeah, that's it.
the shell chime,
And we had some tracks recorded.
even the gungus. So 7 instruments.
So I know you were doing the vocals mostly, and you were doing the Om bit.
Yeah.
But there were times when I know one of y'all was in this corner, but there was someone who was moving. Was there someone else helping you both, or it was you? But there felt like there were two people moving. Like you, I know were in one place. Was there another? I don't know how.
I was moving and I was singing along. So the moving voice was mine.
How long was this whole the set? I'll call it a set.
Yeah. The sound immersion was for 40 minutes from the beginning of
43
the
minutes.
Shavasana. Yeah.
43 minutes.
So from the beginning of the Shavasana till the end, before you all got up for the prayer, it was a 43-minute immersion.
I want to know about the music bit from y'all. So what do you all derive your inspiration from when you all come up with this piece? Because 45 minutes, right? Almost 45 minutes. And it didn't seem monotonous at any point. How do you, because everything y'all introduced, even the gungrus.
Mostly it's out of feeling. Because we've been working as musicians for quite some time.
With each other, have you all worked for a long time?
With each other as well.
Like we are part of the same band.
Oh wow.
So-
What's your band's name?
So we are known as Nikhil and Tejas.
Okay.
I've got a separate band called the Uncle Whiskey Collective.
Oh nice.
And we play with different setups. We play different types of music. So
So as far as this is concerned, the idea was for the sessions to be thematic. We derived this session originally from the theme of being at a seashore. So that's how the elements were introduced. So the thunder tube sort of, resonates with probably sounds of huge shipping vessels that come from there as well. And there was an oceanic drum that was used in the previous session, but we thought of omitting it for this one because the space is slightly smaller. So the space wouldn't do justice to the instrument. We need a bigger expanse for that. And then the layering of the instruments. One is we'll tell you about the rag that was chosen, of course, and the scale and the key for it, because there's a lot of theoretical aspect of it as well. But the other soundscaping is, you must have heard the birds chirping.
Yes.
So we've got bird instruments.
Oh wow.
And what we were doing is, while I was here, Khushbu was outside, so it sort of
Oh,
worked out
that's
as
why it sounded like a bird
conversation.
was outside. I'm like, they are doing this. I was like, this is not a real bird.
Both Austin and
Yeah,
Khushbu
Austin
were
was also.
That's what I was asking you. There was someone else doing music somewhere far away.
No, but I was also responding to the natural bird call.
focusing more on. So four of us sat and we did a little bit of study about alignment and chakra alignment and stuff. And this particular session was focused on your Mooladhara and Swadhisthana, which is your root chakra, and the one just above that, your sacral chakra. So that's why when we were chanting, also we were chanting Lam, which is the sound for the sacral chakra. And the scale of the entire experience, the key which we chose was again for root.
C is for the root.
C is for the Mooladhara, sorry.
Mooladhara.
And rag, he was saying something about rag.
The rag was mostly it's a mishra. It's not one particular rag, but it's a morning rag. So
Are you trained in classical music?
not professionally trained, but I've learned from a lot of people.
Because I was just reading this book on Tawaifs, and they talk about different gharanas, music and dance, how
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because Tawaifs had to be really good singers also.
Yes.
So there's no particular gharana you take a rag. There's what is it? I forgot. Tumri, all that.
Gharana is actually a school,
Okay.
and through that school develops a style, and then you kind of develop your own within that style.
Gharanas are more location centric, in the sense that Lucknow ka
Banaras,
Gharana,
correct,
Gharana, that's
And
Kolkata
Thumri
has
and all
Gharana.
that rag, we have not got into
No,
that.
we've not gone into any sort of classical music. This is totally out of feel. Like
Yeah.
what we felt would help you all immerse is what we played. After 5 o'clock, we stopped talking about the event. We don't want to discuss about anything because we don't want to discuss any new issues. We know what we have to do, and so that we wake up on time. We had
And do a sound check, yeah.
Yeah, we had a 4:30
time.
call time over here, and we had to come. We had to set up everything, do the sound check, and our objective is to be completely relaxed before we start playing for you. Like, I don't start with a thought in my mind
I mean, not entirely, but
Yeah.
there is a lot of improvisation involved.
because we have certain breaks in the middle, and most of the music that was played could have been improvised, but the elements were brought in
Correct.
at certain points.
Intentionally,
So
correct.
we had to prepare for that. And the Shavasana starts with Austin speaking. So since it's a guided Shavasana, he's directing you to every point on your body,
Correct.
and you're supposed to take your mind there and then go beyond that. So the first 10 minutes starts with that. Then slowly the instruments come in, and initially it's not on a rhythmic sense. We wait for things to slowly build up. He'll bring in the percussion instruments, and then we'll move into rhythms.
So that's why I was going over each individual with an instrument. While Austin through his guided Shavasana is vocally triggering the body parts, the instruments through their vibrations also activate the body. It just enhances general blood flow as the vibrations strike against your body. So even those movements were done with a shamanic drum first. Then we used it's a very interesting instrument actually. I'll bring it up.
Did you also move from our head to our toe at some point?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was so prominent when it was behind our head.
This is something that we've made ourselves.
We made ourselves.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we picked up these shells.
It's beautiful also, and
Yeah.
And it works. So
it's beautiful. So this is what you use when our guided the Shavasana was going on.
This was one of them.
this is the ocean drum.
Okay. Oh wow.
So it's a very sensitive instrument.
It actually sounds ocean.
But like I said, this place wouldn't have done justice to it, so they had
Correct.
to omit it. This is what we call a shamanic drum.
And whatever you named your instrument, your invention.
Oh, they're shell chimes. I haven't thought of anything, but thanks for bringing it up. We should definitely give it a
Yeah, because I want to see it again. It's so beautiful. And how long did you all take to put this together?
About an hour and a half, maybe.
And whose idea was it?
It was a collective idea. Austin had collected the shells, Moon had a drill, so she started drilling holes, and then we decided to suspend it. And this is the thunder tube.
Oh. Wow. And the ghungroos were also used?
These are the gurus, and these are the birds.
I heard someone say something so sweet. They said that you all have trained the birds also too. Because it did sound like this at one point. Even the birds joined
Plate,
in.
no, plate and shoe.
I'll remove the water from it. But yeah, there's no water, but we need to add water into this, and that's how the bubbling bird sound comes from there. And then this is the djembe, of course.
It's got a leather,
Yeah, it's leather. So this and both of those are leather.
the ocean.
Yeah, and the shamanic drum
Okay.
and the djembe. So these are the leather scales.
Thank you so much, both of you. Our Guru Ji, our yoga instructor. You have to give respect. So, I want to start with one thing. When you walked in, there's just this aura, this positivity. So, how do you prepare yourself before any session, any class?
So generally, I think it's how Tejas started. That's a rule in aligning your prana.
Correct.
You come in and you just shut up. We give time to compose ourselves. So the first 1 minute is of pure silence. The next 1 minute is silence with stillness. I also teach design and I apply this with my design kits. If anybody's moves in the second bit where you have to be still and silent, the whole process kind of restarts for everybody, even if it's a group, you know. So you're keeping that discipline and you as a community are trying to be silent. It's the most difficult thing to do. Get 5 people together and stay silent. Or not fidget also, as a matter of fact. That itself, 50% of that aligns your thought, how you think, what you would want to articulate and say, and also you know your line of action of what's going to come up next. And while you're following that line, it's also a thing that you need to get the others to follow that line, but you can't demand it. You have to be very courteous. It's a request. So it's always a request for people to kind of lower their volumes for some time, absorb the surroundings. So then they listen and reply rather than just hear it and go away with it.
And when we finished, you said that stay silent for some time. And I felt as though, because I have practiced yoga before, and that instructor had taught me that it's all about mindful talking also, because we are so used to just talking for the sake of it. And when you said that, I anyway didn't feel like talking, but then I felt as though, what is even worth saying? That you get so mindful. So is that also what happens when you're aligned? You just don't feel the need to fill silence?
Yes, because silence is very beautiful, I would say. It works the other way around here. In this process, what happened was your mind actually, at a subconscious level, leaves your body. It's because of the gravity. It's the gravity that pulls you down. So you're no longer are aware of your body, but your mind is aware of what's happening around, because you're listening to the sounds, you're listening to the vibrations, you're listening to things around. For your mind to get back to the body, it takes time, and that is why early morning also you take time to, you breathe. You're like, oh, now I feel alive. By the way, Shavasana, dead body. Similarly, your sleep is said to be the closest to death, the closest feeling to death, and which we feel every day. And then when you're getting up, it is just that beauty that you have to give time for your body to adapt to the mind. So these are two things of yourself, but even they need to coordinate so that you work in together and then you're fresh to actually physically get up. because your mind will just command the body might not react. So you have to give time for that connections to actually get in that sense of silence. So you even absorb the surroundings, because at that point of time you're shut, your eyes are shut, you're absorbing something else, and once you're up for some other scene altogether. So we like to give that buffer time, it's a transition.
You started your journey with yoga 8 years back. What made you start?
What made me start? It looked very easy from outside, and it was very difficult when I did it. So it was my ego that made me start.
Oh my god.
Because if you say it's easy, when you look at it from outside, it's my ego saying it was difficult. Easy at that point, and then it starts to, I start to adapt to it, to give in to it, and it was enjoyable because there is a lot of giving in.
Letting
You
go.
have to give in to something. There's a lot of vulnerable space, and the world does not like a vulnerable space. They want to be defensive.
In control.
In control, no, more defensive. The control is, they don't want to be in control. I would say they're more defensive. The control is more an arrogance of power. But this is more of flowing with
Resisting.
the water. Yeah, this is more of flowing with the water. Saying that, okay, let's just do what he's saying.
Correct.
So
Surrender in that way.
yes,
Surrender to
yes,
someone else.
yes.
was okay.
Even if someone else, or even if it's a process, surrender to a process. It's not very easy to surrender to somebody else, because that is a trust factor. Even over here, you're not surrendering to me. I am guiding you to surrender to yourself. I'm just guiding you through that. I am not like a person who you have to come to me and then you get something. No. We're trying in a process, and we both are flowing through it. It's not like you are flowing. We might flow differently, but we are trying to go into the same waters.
So you said you started this out of ego, but when you start something out of ego, it's very difficult to sustain them. At what point did you drop your ego with this practice and then you fell in love with it?
Well, the kind of asanas that are there, when you look at the whole vocabulary of yoga, I don't think anyone in this world has ever completed it. So it's going to kill everybody's ego at some point, saying you cannot finish it. So you might be good at one asana, but what about the rest?
Correct.
So it itself, as time passes through, the ego kind of diminishes, and you're just more aware.
But when did you fall in love with it? Because you clearly love what you do.
I started to fall in love with it maybe around 4 to 5 years back.
Oh, so 3 years into your practice.
3 to 4 years into your practice, yes, because that was when I actually understood how vast it is. Maybe I had a bubble, I enjoyed my bubble, and then when I broke my bubble, I understood, wow, this is just a small space and there is so much to explore. And this is a part of it also, the immersion. It's a part of it where we're trying to bind music and vibrations towards yoga and meditation.
And you practice you've done your teacher training hours in Mysore also. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. For how long were you in
Yeah,
Mysore?
I was there for 2 months.
Very interesting choice of place. People
Yeah.
go to Rishikesh, people go to Goa, but Mysore
Yeah.
sounds beautiful.
So Mysore is the hub for Ashtanga Yoga. That is where Ashtanga Yoga originated from. And I myself am from Karnataka, by the way.
Oh, wow.
I'm from Udupi. So I have that connection with my land a little bit. So I'm going to be biased on that. And the kind of practice that is there in Mysore is purely traditional. That's how I saw. It's not very commercial. And what I really love about Mysore, which could be, parallelly there for Rishikesh or anywhere else, is that you have a lot of inflow of international students who come in. So you're kind of exchanging culture with people from other nations all around the world, and you're also trying to understand where they come from and how it is. And it talks a lot about life fusing in and culture fusing in and blending in together. And obviously I don't know what Puneri style to Mysore there, but it is also that. And that's why what I teach here is a mix of Mysore and what I've learned here in Pune.
Even the way you made us sit, like the way you're sitting right now, and the way he explained it, like to push your knees down, it was a little difficult in the beginning, but then it felt more comfortable than
Yeah.
the way we normally sit cross-legged, because the spine was a lot more erect.
Yeah.
So this
yeah.
is also part of traditional way. What is this called?
It's called Siddhasana.
Siddhasana.
Yeah. And you got to stagger your legs. Generally, we do this, so your one
Yeah.
knee is always up. So you're supposed to stagger them, so you push them down. Now, when you push them down, it's your mind that is taking the knee down. It is not just like this. This is just, not very aware of your thing, of your right knee. But here, you actually have to push it down. Only if you push it down, your spine will get straight. If I don't,
Correct. And you know when you sit in the
it
other way,
goes down.
yeah, and your foot falls asleep. It's very uncomfortable
Yeah.
because we sat like this for a long
Yeah.
time and it didn't feel. There was no
Yeah.
discomfort.
and even if there is, I think it's open enough for everyone to
Readjust. You told us
readjust.
don't push yourself. Do
Yeah,
what is
it's gotta be
comfortable.
easy. It's a
Correct.
very relaxing process.
Thank you so much, Austin. It was an amazing way to start Women's Day.
Yes.
It was
thank
an
you.
all women were in class.
Yeah, that was something
Yeah.
parallel that I observed.
Yeah. Beautiful experience. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you so
God
much.
bless you. Thank you. Organic tea, dry fruits, chana, and a message from God. Which one should I pick? I'll pick the blue one. This is the most important team because they have a camera. Every girl's best friend. Introduce yourself. There's a white bird. I got easily distracted. Introduce yourself. I've got such a good backdrop. अच्छा इंस्ट्रक्शंस देने में तो मुंह खुलता है अब नहीं खुल रहा names
So my name is Manav, his name is Swatansh. We both freelance and right now we're heading to a content creation agency.
oh
We
wow
have 7 clients under us, including a line of our.
congratulations that's such a big achievement 7 clients in Pune
Yes.
really good guys going to the temple now taking off my shoes again It has been an extremely productive day. It's 9 a.m. I have technically worked out and I think I will work out though. That was not counted, was it? So, Women's Day is still going on. Waiting for the rickshaw to come now. I'm up since 3 a.m. But this was totally worth it.